This one interview just sunk Kamala Harris's entire campaign. You are not going to want to miss this.
It was obvious that Kamala Harris, going into this interview, had two strategies. Tactic number one, literally blame everything on Donald Trump. Anytime you get asked a tough question, my orange man bad. There were a couple bad moments, but this one, this was bad.
He talked about locking people up because they disagree with him. This is a democracy. And in a democracy, the President of the United States, in the United States of America, should be willing to be able to handle criticism without saying he'd lock people up for doing it.
Kamala Harris basically lost it. Although saying that kind of implies that this was authentic. This was not authentic. That was acting. You can tell how disingenuous she is. Basically, what I read there was Donald Trump is literally Hitler. She's about to burst a blood vessel in her forehead. Donald Trump said that he would jail people that he disagrees with. No, he didn't, you absolute loon, you absolute partisan goon. That's never happened. Has Donald Trump called for investigations into people who were involved in subverting democracy and these phony impeachment attempts? Illegal FISA warrants, colluding with foreign spies to fabricate a story in an effort to impeach a sitting president, or, Democrats over the last, let's call it a year and a half, conspiring to throw him in prison on bogus political charges. Yeah, not exactly the same thing. And oh, the irony, this coming from the Democrat Party, the party that's literally trying to jail their political opponents. Donald Trump and his orbit, not to mention their views on free speech. These are the people who believe certain speech should be criminal and that government agencies should be policing speech online. It's unfreaking believable, and most importantly, it's unhinged. And I think most people can see that, and honestly, I think Brett Baer, and it's actually a question I ask all the time.
Why, if he's as bad as you say, that half of this country is now supporting this person who could be the 47th president of the United States, why is that happening?
This is an election for president of the United States. It's not supposed to be easy.
I know, but
it's not supposed to be. It is not supposed to be a cakewalk.
So are they misguided, the 50%? Are they stupid? What is it?
I would never say that about the American people. And in fact, if you listen to Donald Trump, if you watch any of his rallies, he's the one who tends to demean and belittle and diminish the American people. He's the one who talks about an enemy within, an enemy within, talking about the American people, suggesting he would turn the American military on the American people.
Was it Donald Trump that called his political opponent's supporters a basket of deplorables, or was that somebody else? Was that Donald Trump? No, absolutely not. He says the exact opposite on every single occasion. He's not trying to become president just for those that support him, or just for one race or religion or ethnic group. He wants to be president for everybody. He wants the entire country to be thriving. And under his leadership, we had record numbers in African American employment, Mexican American employment, women employment. Everything was at record highs under Donald Trump. And if you want to talk about divisive, how about your administration? Biden-Harris administration put the full force of the DOJ against parents of middle-class America because parents were speaking up at board meetings. These people will put their right hand on the Bible and just lie. It seems that their words have absolutely no substance.
Why does half the country support him? Are they stupid? Are they crazy? Are you saying that half the country is supporting a Hitlerian figure and they're just a bunch of fascists? Oh, no, I would never say that. Only Donald Trump says stuff like that. What a complete fool. This is complete campaign implosion. Donald Trump every 2 seconds. There was also this brilliant moment.
A number of experts thought you would say China. The FBI director had said that. But you said Iran. If that's the case, what do you say to critics who look at the actions of your administration and say you're not acting like Iran is the number one threat?
Well, I will tell you most recently, whether it was in April or in October, in the several hours on each occasion that Iran posed a threat to Israel, I was there. Most recently in the Situation Room, in the most recent attack, working with the heads of our military and doing what America must always do.
Critics just say that you either relaxed or failed to enforce sanctions on Iran, allowing all of this money to flow into Iran, like billions.
Let's go back to Donald Trump, who pulled out of a deal that would have actually put
But here are
Iran in check.
the estimates
and then
in billions
it was during Donald Trump's
that
administration
go towards
that
the Iran regime.
that we had an American military base that was attacked, where American soldiers suffered traumatic brain injuries, and Donald Trump dismissed them as headaches, not to mention how Donald Trump has treated and talked about America's military and military service people, calling them suckers and losers,
Hamas,
has diminished the significance.
We're talking over each other. I apologize.
Well, I would like that we would have a conversation that is grounded in full assessment of the facts, which includes, I think this interview is supposed to be about the choices that your viewers should be presented about this election, and the contrast is important.
Yes, ma'am.
And on the subject of Iran, I am offering what should be an important contrast that is presented for folks to make a decision. Biden is not on the ballot.
I understand.
And Donald Trump
but
is.
You talked about it.
And Donald Trump
after George Clooney said within a few minutes of talking to President Biden at a fundraiser that he thought this was not the same Joe Biden that we saw on the debate stage.
Donald Trump is on the ballot.
I understand. You met with him at least once a week for 3.5 years. You didn't have any concerns?
I think the American people have a concern about Donald Trump.
Looking back, do you regret the decision to terminate Remain in Mexico at the beginning of your administration?
At the beginning of our administration, within practically hours of taking the oath, the first bill that we offered Congress, before we worked on infrastructure, before the Inflation Reduction Act, before the Chips and Science Act, before the bipartisan Safer Communities Act, the first bill practically within hours of taking the oath.
How many illegal immigrants would you estimate your administration has released into the country over the last 3.5 years?
Well, I'm glad you raised the issue of immigration, because I agree with you. It is a topic of discussion that people want to rightly have. And you know what I'm going to talk about.
Yeah, but
right now,
just a number. Do you think it's 1 million, 3 million?
Brett, let's just get to the point. Okay, the point is that we have a broken immigration system that needs to be repaired.
Every single thing that came out of her mouth was, well, Donald Trump did this. It's just childish. This is something a 5-year-old would say. Every single time that she was pressed for an answer on a question, she would always circle around the question, then somehow say it was Donald Trump's fault. Kamala, the past 3.5 years, has been the biggest advocate for Joe Biden, saying he's cognitively fit, he is just as sharp as anybody else, up until the point that she doesn't need him anymore. She kicks him to the curb in a second. She's now the Democratic nominee without even getting one single vote. If you want to know what a career politician is, look no further than Kamala Harris. It seems that she will betray any allegiances to further her own political career, and it doesn't matter what it takes. You want her to lie, she'll lie. You want her to cheat, she'll cheat. These are not the type of people that we want leading us in Washington, D.C. And if she was able to get so mad and testy against Bret Baier, how do you think she's going to do against Vladimir Putin and Xi Jinping? She would get absolutely walked over. We need someone in the White House who's actually in control of their own emotions and won't get so upset after having to answer some basic questions. But the thing that's irking me about this whole situation is look at her earrings right here. Do you notice anything in particular? They're the same ones she wore in the Trump debate, and people were speculating that maybe those are Bluetooth and you could actually receive audio out of them. I mean, maybe I'm a conspiracy theorist, but why does Kamala always wear those particular earrings every single time she's doing an interview or debate or anything in public? But you know what? Kamala's poll numbers are crashing by the day, and that's making her more desperate, having to do more interviews, and that's only making her poll numbers worse and worse and worse. I'm loving every second of it, because the American people are seeing her for what she is, and she's an absolute fraud. But yeah, let me know your thoughts on this down below. How do you think Kamala handled it? Do you think Bret Baier did a good job with this interview? Let me know. And also, do you think that those earrings have audio coming out of them, or am I just nuts? Let me know. I'd love to hear your opinion. And if you enjoyed, make sure to smash a like, comment, subscribe. Wish you guys nothing but the best. Till next time.